funny. That's how crazy and peaceful.
He's tiny. And he doesn't even know.
You're getting a brand new life right now. You don't even know.
That child, 6-year-old child, had bone marrow cancer, just like me. That 6-year-old child was getting a bone marrow transplant. This is a treatment protocol for me, to save me. He's getting a bone marrow transplant and a high-dose chemotherapy. That was the so-called cure for the best oncologists so-called in the world for giving this child that it took him to. And it seems logical in their mindset that if there's cancer in the bone marrow, all I have to do is give you new bone marrow, and I'll give you a new life. There's cancer in your blood, so all I need to do now is put high-dose chemotherapy into your blood, it'll kill the cancer in your blood. And a logical standpoint, right, makes sense. It would make sense. If that worked, he'd be alive. He would have a new life. He died 2 months later. He died 2 months later. And you heard that nurse. What did she say? He doesn't even know he's getting a new life right now. That's the insanity. That's the insanity. She literally thought by putting someone else's bone marrow into the child that will cure him and he's a new life right now. He died, 6 years old, died because of a treatment protocol of high-dose chemotherapy with bone marrow transplant. Think about how insane that is. Now, for some of you here, what I'm about to say, you're going to say, well, that's just crazy. For some of you who know the history of chemotherapy, you're going to say, oh, no, he's right on. So, let's say instead of him going to the hospital with the top oncologist in the world, instead he comes into my office, and I bring him in the back, and I have some gasoline there. You know, that's kind of crazy. Come on, who put gasoline? Just listen. You know the history of chemotherapy. So I put that gasoline in a bag, and I start putting that into his bloodstream. Will gas kill cancer? Absolutely. Cancer can't live in that chemical poison. And so if I put gasoline inside of him, comes into my office, I spend a week giving him the gasoline into his bloodstream to kill his cancer would absolutely die. And I wouldn't give him, right, trust me, I can put a little bit in you. There's enough, right, that you can give that it wouldn't kill you. So I'll give him enough that it won't kill him, at least right away. But a few months later, he dies. They're going to come after me and do what? They're going to charge me with murder. I murdered him, and then the nurse who helped me will be charged with accessory of murder. Now you say, well, that's kind of crazy. Well, who knows the history of chemotherapy? How did it begin? What is it? It's mustard gas. It began in World War II, and because in World War II, the soldiers would be dying and they couldn't figure out. And they wouldn't die right away. They weren't shot. They would just slowly start to die one after another over a period of time. They'd lose their hair, they would throw up, all your signs and symptoms. And then they finally die. And what they finally realized was that there's some chemical warfare. Something's going on. Well, what it was mustard gas. They would inhale this mustard gas, which is a chemical warfare. They would inhale it. And what would happen was they wanted to know why would, before they died, before their organs shut down, they would lose their hair first. They would lose their bronchial issues first. All the things. The fast, rapidly growing cells were dying the quickest. That's how chemo began. They said, well, holy cow. They knew right then, we don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it's killing fast, rapidly growing cells. Because remember, what is cancer? Cancer is a cell that's out of control. Remember, our cells die, and then they come back, and then they die and come back. Apoptosis, which is cellular death, that's the way we were created. Cancer means they don't die. So they started realizing, they said, I don't know what this stuff is, but it's killing fast, rapidly growing cells. Finally, they found out what it was. It was a chemical warfare. It was mustard gas. And then when they started figuring out, well, what these people have is cancer. Cancer is a rapidly growing cell that's out of control. They said, that's all we need to do then is give them what? A chemical agent into their bloodstream. Will it kill cancer? In some cases, absolutely it could kill cancer. I'm not going to sit up here and not. It's like saying a vaccine doesn't stop somebody from getting chickenpox. It absolutely can create a temporary immunity. Don't ever argue that. It's possible. It's a small temporary antibody response. Does it ever make you healthy? That's impossible. That would be impossible. So they put a chemical warfare into a patient. He died. They'll give him a different option, a different choice to get him healthy. That doctor should be put away for murder, and that nurse should be an accessory to murder. You can't say that. I just did. I can say that. Because after you've had cancer in your blood that spread to your brain, and after you had a feeding tube in your stomach, had to eat through a tube for 2 months, after you had no voice for over 3 months, right? After I lost 40 pounds in a wheelchair, and I'm up here looking like this a year and a half later, I can say whatever the hell I want. Amazing when he talked about this in this book. He talked about the book, How Doctors Do Harm. And then when we think about a book, we're like, come on, how many people, though, are going to get a book? They're going to buy a few thousand copies. Who's going to go buy a book? Who in this? Yeah, there's people in the middle. The people in this medical mindset over here, there's no way they're picking up a book like that. It's very rare. The ones who are in the middle, they may pick up the book. The ones over here, we're reading that book. We're all over it. And so the word, I'll be all over it. But listen, CNN. No, this was on CNN the day I left. It was on CNN. Top news station in the world. This is CNN. Dr. Otis Webb Ball that we talked about. I don't think you understand. I don't know if you've heard him. This is the chief medical officer of the American Cancer Society. No, this is the guy who's the medical officer, chief of the American Cancer Society. This is the guy. You don't understand? This isn't some Dr. Mercola or some Oscar battler, somebody who left there and is on a rampage. No, this guy he's still the chief medical officer of the American Cancer Society. And this was in his book, though. This was on CNN. This was on CNN. He was talking about Helen. She was diagnosed with the early stage of breast cancer in 1990. She saw doctors with the best reputations. After appropriate surgery, she was given, high-dose chemotherapy with a bone marrow transplant. This is the American Cancer Society guy saying this. This is in his book. He said the treatment almost killed her several times. She was hospitalized. She was sick for over a year from this treatment. In 1990, that treatment was not ever approved, thank God, by any insurance company. It was not allowed. So they were suing and suing and suing. And this is what he said, though. He said, there was a really good reason why health insurers did not want to pay for high-dose chemotherapy and bone marrow transplant. No study had ever been done to prove it beneficial. No study had ever been done. They were doing it without it ever being done. Even without evidence, he says, this is evidence. Again, American Cancer Society still runs it. He says, even without evidence, some patients and their doctors had faith that it worked. How much? Again. Okay, the procedure was common because some doctors thought that the transplant was beneficial. Listen to what he said. The truth be told, it was only beneficial to the doctors and hospitals offering it. Murder, accessory to murder. This is what this. How would he say that? Listen, but the amazing thing he said was, we rank in America 50th in life expectancy. He went on and on. I mean, this is at CNN when he's saying that. Well, Croatia is the only one who's below us right now. In the current course, if we keep going on with the way cancer is and treating it the way we do, treating it like that, he said the current course is not sustainable. The medical cost will rise over and over until the economy collapses. They need a hero. That someone is you. Steve Jobs. Oh, now I want to talk about a big idiot. Listen, not Steve Jobs, the guy who wrote this article. This was what he's calling himself the premier pancreatic oncologist. He says Steve Jobs doomed himself by shunning conventional medicine until too late and playing his heart expert. What he's saying was that Steve Jobs would probably be alive today We cannot put off conventional medicine in the favor of alternative remedies. A leading cancer doctor said, I'm going to point out the BS. I'm going to point out the lies. This is what the public sees. This is what millions of people who are going to die of cancer see. They think, well, see, he died. Well, listen, the certificate of death stated that Mr. Jobs had the cancer for over 8 years. He had a pancreatic cancer for over 8 years before his death. 8 years. But listen, so listen, no, he did alternative. I don't know, did he go to Spain? I didn't see him there. I don't know if he go to Nevada. I didn't see him there. I never heard of him going anywhere. Well, here's what this brilliant, supposedly the best guy in pancreatic says. Mr. Jobs decided to employ alternative methods to treat his pancreatic cancer and hoping to avoid operation through a special diet. No, I'm going to say it again. No more. He did a special diet. He ate better, and so he did an alternative method. No. I don't know if this guy knew it, but that's like saying, you know what? I take care of my kids. You're supposed to take care of your kids. Wait a minute, I'm eating better. You're supposed to eat better. This is all he did. But he did conventional. But wait a minute, then he goes on to say, no. But he also had a Whipple procedure where they removed his pancreas and duodenum. He also had a liver transplant. He was on immunosuppressant drugs. How do you live after all that? But no, he's saying no. But if he would have done it sooner, not done his diet, he would have done his stuff sooner. And then, so I said, well, I'm going to go find who I know is one of the best pancreatic specialists in the world. Everybody knows, a lot of you know who Dr. Nick Gonzalez is. He's one of the best. Those of you who email me, I have pancreatic cancer, what do I do? Give me some ideas to do. And then we say, call Dr. Nick Gonzalez, one of the highest percentage rates of people living with pancreatic cancer in the world. But you know what he says? He says, if the alignment is wrong, this is what he said. If the alignment is wrong, the nervous system is not going to work well, no matter how good their nutrition is. They are not going to be able to assimilate that nutrition sufficiently. The majority of cancer cases we see, has overt cervical spinal problems, even the ones who don't have a history of spinal trauma. One of the top pancreatic specialists in the world, alternative, says it's overt cervical problems. Overt cervical problems in there. So you have to understand, conventional medicine wants people to believe. See, we don't realize this. If you don't know what influences people, you can't influence them. Conventional medicine has influenced people that genes, viruses, and bacteria are what make us sick. They've convinced people, that it's outside in. They want everyone to believe this. That's where it began. It began years ago with the germ theory, saying germs cause disease. Well, we want everyone to realize it. Because if they can get you to think and realize that you were born for cancer, born for sickness, born for every disease, born for diabetes, you were born for whooping cough, you were born for all these things. If you were born for it, then it's not under your control. So they want you to believe, everyone to believe, that nothing is under your control. Because if you believe nothing is under your control, then you're going to need what? Chemotherapy, a bone marrow transplant. Then you're going to need drugs and vaccines. Then you're going to need antibiotics. If you believe that there's no potential inside of you, there's no way you're ever going to not do that. It's a fear. It's a complete fear and a complete lie. Complete lie. Now, is there a necessity ever in this area? Absolutely. Thank God in this area. Thank God there's necessities there. Thank God there's some medicine there for people who aren't going to take care of themselves. Right? We're not going to sit and say, no. Do I hate those doctors and I love them? I still love them. They're idiots, right? It's not their fault. They're ignorant. They don't know that. So most of you know, a week and a half ago, about 1:15 in the morning, I'm sleeping. My wife hits me over. She says my water broke, and I'm like, it's 1:15. The water breaks, and it's in the morning. So it's 1:15. The water breaks. I said, okay, come on, let's get up. And about 2 hours later, 2 hours and 15 minutes later, she delivers at home. She was in the bathtub. She got back out and delivers the fourth child, 2 boys, 2 girls. Travis, and put that up. within seconds, I held her up. She was still on the cord, and I held her there. And then once the cord stopped pulsating, we cut the cord. We held on to her, and I went up off the ground. And within seconds, what is she doing? Within seconds, she begins to root, right? She begins looking for food. You have to understand, it's in that moment, this is what's going through my head. You know, there's always that what am I learning in any situation? What am I picking up here? It's the most amazing thing in the world. And at that moment, she's doing this. Within minutes of birth, she's looking for a breast to eat. She's looking for that. She's looking for milk. How on earth? How does a baby know to survive? See, we have everything inside of us. Everything's inside of you for survival. Everything is there. There's a power inside of you that's never left you. It's never left you. It created her from 2 little cells. There's a power that created her from 2 cells into 50 trillion cells. But here's what you also have to realize. That power that created her to 50 trillion cells also knew to stop growing those cells. Because if that power gets interfered with, those cells get out of control, and what's that called? Cancer. It's the power in your body. When there's any interference, even slight interference to that power, the cells cannot die and replace themselves. And the cells get out of control. That's called cancer. That's called abnormal cells. And so, how can I put a new bone marrow in them when I'm not getting to what's interfering? There's one major essential that everything falls on, which is the body will heal itself as long as there's no interference. The power that made the body to heal the body as long as there's no interference. That God's power will heal the body. God created the body as long as there's no interference. The 5 essentials, all they do is make sure there's no interference, right? That's it. Number 1, the mindset. Proven by Bruce Lipton, the biology belief, and a lot of now the new gene theorists is we know that the genes, the cells, everything is affected by our thought process. We know that our thoughts are number 1. Number 2, we know that when a bone shifts out of place, puts pressure on a nerve, that brain can get in the body. And when that brain can get in the body at 100%, even if that brain is getting in the body at 99.9%, is there interference? Yes. Can that power work at 100%? No. So can all those cells die and replace themselves normally? It's impossible. But I still have, it's 2 ends. I had your chiropractors over here who argue with me saying, no. It's all association. It doesn't matter what you eat. That stuff doesn't matter. I can put anything in my body. I can do anything. And I love the one time I told you, well then why can't you just take drugs? If you can smoke cigars and drink and eat horrible, then why can't you take medication and stay substance free? Well, I can't. That's right. Number 1. Number 2 is I say to them, okay, fine. If it's not nutrition then just clear your nervous system and you can never eat again. What would happen? You would die. So is nutrition important? Well, yeah, yes. No, it's absolutely important. It's absolutely important. I'm not saying it's, you're getting here. You can't. Then you have the other ones over here who say, no, civilization's not that important. It absolutely is. If there's any pressure on the nerve, the body can't heal at 100%. And then we know oxygen. If the cell has even the slightest bit of interference to the oxygen, if it's not getting enough oxygen, the cell becomes hypoxic. When the cell becomes hypoxic, it becomes to be abnormal. It interferes with that power, that healing of the body. And we know with toxicity, what toxins do to the body. Is it a fact? It's an absolute fact. Like Dr. Eric was saying, this is science. This isn't belief. This is science. It's an absolute fact. What you do absolutely changes and saves lives. There is no question to that. And so there's 3 types of people. This is what's amazing. There's 3 types of people. This is what you got to understand when you're here today. Which one are you? There's 3 types of people in the world. Number one. The quitters. The quitters. These are the people who are the bitchers, the moaners, the whiners. And you know who you are. You know who you are. That means You blame the economy. You blame the CA. You blame your parents. You blame your past. You blame everything. Nothing's your fault. It's everybody else's fault. That's the type of person. You don't even start. Why would I put goals down? Why would I even pray? I'm never going to have the life of my dreams. You put everything else down and nothing else works. Those are called the quitters. Then you have those people who, while going for their dreams, and they were positive, and they were focused, and they're like, nothing's about it. It's not the economy, it's nothing. And they're doing great, and they're moving along. Their prices are growing, their lives are growing, their marriages are growing. And all of a sudden, boom, something happens. Something happens. Who knows? Spouse decides they're leaving, parent dies, they remember my past. Oh my God, my daddy touched me. I don't know what it is. Something happens, and you start remembering, and there it is. There's my excuse. And all of a sudden, your dreams go down. And you let that one little thing, or 50,000 things, whatever it is, you let that kill your dreams and die. And it could be even something simple. But you went for your dreams, stop. And then there's that third type of people. These are the ones who, while going for their dreams, had something happen in their lives. Got knocked down or got knocked down hard. Spouse left them. Spouse could have died. Child could have died. These are those people who had it rough through life. They had every excuse in the world. And got knocked down and got knocked down and got knocked down. This is the type of person who gets cancer that spreads their brain and has a feeding tube. And in that moment says, it's my opportunity. This is the beginning, not the end. And it's time to take this and shine and have a new belief system. And my belief system in that moment, and your belief system has to be, this third type of person's belief system is, there's always a way. There's always a way. There's always a way. That's your new belief. When you leave here, there is always a way. There's always a way. When those doctors walked into that hospital room, you've heard it 100 times from me, it said there's no cure, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. A bone marrow transplant, high-dose chemo will possibly give you some time. There's nothing you can do. No. There's always a way. And when there's always a way, you'll find a way. There has to always be a way. You know, it's amazing is my wife, when I met my wife 2 years before we actually met. I don't mean like that, but before we met. I met her 2 years before that. And thank God I didn't hold back the truth. Thank God I didn't see. Here's what you guys do. You say, you try to go through life playing it safe. I want you to realize there is no safe place. You want to play it safe. You don't want to tell the truth. You don't want to tell people what's going on because you want them to like you. But you have to realize, in that moment of decision where you're not telling what didn't like you, you're not telling the truth, this one will like you. Do you realize this one doesn't like you? Do you realize that in that moment you're trying to get everyone to like you, but there's still so many people who don't like you, there's so many people who won't listen to you, that by you trying to be liked is killing more people, that when it's truly time, your child gets sick, what do they say? You've heard it before, well, we went to the doctor, the real doctor. Well, we did our vaccines, we did our antibiotics. Why? Because you won't tell the truth. So there's still people now, if that child if you would have told the truth, if that child gets autism, you heard the stories, the child gets sick, gets cancer, gets autism, and you didn't tell them, that's your fault. Tell them the truth, then the blood's not on your hands. Tell them the truth. So I met my wife 2 years before that. I met her, and definitely, obviously, you know how I am. And I met her, and the whole time, I'm talking chiropractic, I'm talking about soul station. I'm in a bar, you can imagine how bad this is. And I'm talking to chiropractic, she's like, I would never go to chiropractor. Her spine was broke from T12 to S1, she's completely fused. And she said, I would never go to chiropractor. They told me that I could never go. We had this conversation, I'm like, that's impossible. At the time, she said, and I said, yeah. And I always know, I said, well, it's shutting your organs down. I said, it's shutting your female organs. I went through everything. She goes, well, yeah, I can't have kids. She said, there's no way. They already told me I can't have kids. I'm on a thyroid medication. She was on a thyroid medication at the time, headaches all the time. She said, it doesn't matter. She said, I can't be adjusted. They told me my spine is broke. And thank God I stayed to the truth. Thank God it was there. Because I was met her 2 years after that moment, probably 2 years after that, and she remembered that. She remembered that. She ended up working for another chiropractor. She ended up getting adjusted from that one conversation right there. We met back up from that moment, and obviously you guys know, 9 years later, 4 children later, never been on a thyroid medication again. What if she didn't realize there's always a way? She didn't believe there's a way. somebody lied to her. Somebody didn't tell her the truth. Not only would her life be different, my life would be different, my 4 children would be here right now. There's always a way. There's always a way. There's a great story I'll end with. This happened in Chicago years ago. There was an executive man, and he was driving this brand new Jaguar. He tells the story. Driving this brand new black Jaguar through this subdivision, this town in Chicago. And he was driving through, and he was just watching. There was kids playing. And out of nowhere, between one of the cars, a brick comes out and hits his car. You can imagine, with his car, I think it was 3 days old. The car is 3 days old, a brick hits it. He stops, he gets out, and the kid who threw it is standing right there. He's thinking you're going to run. So he walks up to him, and he literally grabs him. And the kid's like, no, I need help, I need help, I need help. I've been trying. He said, I've been out here for over 40 minutes, and I've been trying to wake people down. No one will stop for me. He said, my brother fell out of his wheelchair. He's bleeding. I can't get him up to get him help. Can you please help me? The guy ran over there. The child fell from the curb off. He picked him up. He was bleeding, put him in the chair, and they moved him and got him to his house. And at that moment, he got back into his car with the dent in there. And at that moment, he said, I'm never, ever going to fix this dent again. I'm going to leave this here as long as I have this car. Because this dent is going to remind me that there's more important things in life than the material things. There's more important things in life than the money. There's more important things in life. And so he left it there, and he said, every time I see that dent, I'm going to remember that. Not some of you, but most of you need to go home and put a dent somewhere. Whether it's your car, whether it's your TV, whether it's your computer, whether it's that stupid phone you're on. I don't know what it is. Some of you just got to put a dent somewhere. Somebody, you got to have a reminder. Thank God Andrew Wells has got a $1,000 reminder this week. But he's got a reminder. He's got a reminder to go, you know what? I'm not going another day without giving everything I have. I'm not going another day without realizing that I can do anything, that there's always a way. I'm not going to go another day with children out there sick, suffering, and dying. I'm not going to go another day with that child there. There's more important things in life than my material things in my cars. And as we wrap the weekend up and you look at the codes here, those codes are here for one reason. That's so you can take those, put those together, and bring those to the world. Because there's only one answer to the sick, suffering, dying world. And that's you. Thanks.